Hello, I'm Andrew Sipocz with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. I'm the Natural Resource Coordinator for Region 4 State Parks, which is for about 20 state parks in southeast Texas. Sheldon Lake State Park is one of the parks I take care of. However, I've been involved in the project since prior to my current position. About 500 acres of this park have been farmed since it was set aside as a state park, and actually prior to that even. And we've only recently begun a program to take these farmlands and restore them to a natural landscape. So phase 1 started as a cornfield, I believe was the last crop in that field. So what we did with that phase 1 project is actually went into that cropland. We knew where the wetlands used to be using old photos and looking at the soil, and we actually re-excavated those wetlands. The dirt the farmer put in the wetlands we took out. And once that part was complete, we brought a group in that came and planted native wetland plants. They collected marsh plants from around this area in small existing marshes and even out of road ditches. And they planted those into these recreated wetlands. And when that was complete, the next phase was to plant the surrounding area, the high ground that surrounds the wetlands, with prairie. We seeded it with native prairie. The contract to excavate the wetlands out of phase 2 came in way under bid, and so we went ahead and added in what we call phase 3. We basically doubled the acreage that we thought we were going to do with the amount of money we had. The planting is being done by Texas AgriLife with what they call their Wetland Restoration Team, which is a group of very dedicated volunteers as well as their staff.
We're very big on our prairie and wetland restoration efforts. We currently have some expansion going on right now where a boardwalk is being constructed. So for the first time, you'll be able to walk out onto the boardwalk and be surrounded by prairie and wetland on either side and really see the wetland restoration and the prairie restoration efforts that our park staff and our volunteers have spent countless hours on.
Planted wetland plants where we thought the water level ought to be, but there was no water there at all. It rained a couple weeks later. The plants just popped into action, and now you really couldn't tell that it was never a wetland. That's the part where we started. And this second, third phase, fourth phase is going to do exactly the same thing here.
When Sea Grant and AgriLife Extension approached us with the idea, it was something that we had never really done. We hadn't been previously involved with wetland restoration at all, but we recognized the value in wetland restoration and as a best management practice. We really, as a state agency, get dual benefit. Sea Grant is able to come out here, put things on the ground, do innovative work, but we're actually able to show water quality improvements, and there is a value and an actual physical number that can be placed on the amount of acreage and plants that are actually put here on the ground, and being able to show the sediment reduction, the reduction in nutrients, and many other great values that this wetland actually provides outside of the park boundaries.
We were involved from the very beginning in phase 1 and plan to see it through to the very end in phase 4. And our role has been coordinating with the Wetland Restoration Team, which is a volunteer effort that brings together the staff, Texas AgriLife Extension Service staff, to work with Texas Master Naturalist volunteers who are trained mentors very specific to wetland restoration.
So What we've done here at Sheldon is we've actually gone to where the wetlands originally were and excavated those out. Rather than holding water just through impoundment, we're actually excavating the earth. It's really not that much more expensive to do that. And I think the results kind of speak for themselves. You end up with a much more natural looking wetland, a greater diversity of plant life, and the greater diversity of plant life and the greater diversity of water depths and the integration of the upland prairie with the wetlands.
Seeing as how this 3-year project is now coming to a close, and we have shown such great success with phase 2 and phase 3 through reaching out, providing wetland field days. We really were excited to get a new project and new proposal from Sea Grant, and so we will be continuing to fund through Clean Water Act dollars from the Environmental Protection Agency for phase 4, which I believe is going to be 44 restored acres. So when it's all done, we're really going to be able to show even further and continued success.
This is phase 4. It is we call it the Oakmont, or the Wooded Peninsula.
That juts out into, in between phase 2 and phase 3.
So the idea is to come into this area and remove the tallow trees and remove some of the invasives that are in here. The great things about this work is, you're making a difference. You know that you're helping to preserve things that could be gone. And it's almost like a kind of a resurrection, because whenever we did, like I said, when we did remove the canopy from up there, some of the things that came popping up, some of the milkweeds I haven't seen in years. And it's great to see things like that are actually still surviving. And hopefully we'll have a lot of those out.